In a world consumed by the endless chase for wealth, power, and prestige, the ancient Stoics offered a radically different perspective, one that still cuts through the noise today. To the Stoic mind, money is not evil, nor is it inherently good. It is, as they called it, an indifferent tool, nothing more. It carries no moral weight by itself, no promise of happiness or virtue. Its only value comes from how it is used, and more importantly, from the mindset of the person who holds it. Seneca, one of Rome's richest men and most committed Stoics, declared bluntly, "Money has never yet made anyone rich." Because real wealth, in Stoic philosophy, has nothing to do with coin or property. It is the richness of character, cultivated through wisdom, courage, justice, and self-control. The Stoics did not romanticize poverty, nor did they idolize riches. They simply stripped money of its illusion. Epictetus, born into slavery, reminded his students that freedom isn't about how much you have in your bank account, but about how unshaken you are when fortune turns. Marcus Aurelius, emperor of the Roman world, journaled in private not about his palace or possessions, but about temperance, discipline, and the brief, flickering nature of life. For the Stoic, money is not the master, it is the servant. It is to be earned with integrity, spent with intention, and released without regret. Contrast this with the modern obsession with manifesting wealth, attracting abundance, and living your dream lifestyle. Too often, this vision of abundance is tied to consumption, more things, more status, more control. But Stoicism dares to ask the deeper question, are you truly free if your happiness depends on the size of your paycheck or the brand of your car? The answer, of course, is no, because the Stoic definition of abundance is inner sufficiency. It is the ability to be content with little, grateful in hardship, and generous when fortune smiles. To live stoically is not to reject wealth, but to demystify it, to remember that a poor man who governs his desires is richer than a king enslaved by his greed, that financial gain without virtue is emptiness in disguise, that the truest form of prosperity is peace of mind, unbought, unbroken, and undisturbed by the fluctuations of fate. So before you chase the next dollar, pause and ask, do I own my money, or does it own me? That's where Stoicism begins. Truth 1. Understand lack versus flow. The first truth Stoicism offers about money is both humbling and liberating. What we often interpret as lack is rarely about actual material scarcity. It's a distortion of perception. It's a mindset problem. Epictetus, a man born into bondage and who owned nothing of material value, once declared, "Wealth consists not in having great possessions, but in having few wants." This is not a denial of real hardship. The Stoics were not naive. They did not ignore hunger, homelessness, or debt. But they knew the most dangerous poverty isn't external, it's internal. It's the kind of spiritual bankruptcy that makes a millionaire feel like they never have enough. That convinces someone with a roof, food, and love that they are somehow failing. To live in a lack mindset is to constantly compare, to feel behind, to measure your life by what you don't have. It's that gnawing anxiety when the bills come in. It's the belief that you can't relax, can't breathe, until the number in your bank account hits some imaginary benchmark. But the Stoic sees this not as a financial problem, but a philosophical one. What can I control here? Becomes the grounding question. Not why is this happening to me, but what virtue can I apply in this moment? Budgeting, simplifying, even downsizing. These become acts of sovereignty, not shame. You stop spiraling in anxiety and start moving in clarity. And then there's flow, the Stoic antidote to lack. Flow isn't passivity. It's not sitting around and hoping fate fixes your finances. Flow is effort in alignment with nature, with virtue, with reason. It's trusting that honest work, discipline, and generosity, not greed, are the roots of sustainable wealth. Flow is what happens when you detach from outcomes and instead show up with integrity day after day. It's knowing that you are doing your part and releasing the rest. In this space, abundance is redefined. You realize that your worth isn't tied to your net worth, that money can add to your life, but it cannot define your life. You begin to use money as a tool, not a measure of your value. Whether you are building from zero or already stable, the Stoic path is the same. Want less, act wisely, and let the universe handle the rest. Truth 2. Money as energy. In the Stoic perspective, money is often misunderstood. Too many people view wealth as a sign of success or security, but in truth, money is merely a tool, neither inherently good nor evil. The Stoics would assert that the value of money lies not in its accumulation, but in its use. It is the way we engage with money that determines its role in our lives. Marcus Aurelius, a philosopher who also wielded immense political and economic power, offers us a powerful insight into how we should relate to wealth. He wrote, "The best way to avenge yourself is to not be like your enemy." This idea isn't limited to revenge, but extends into how we handle the very thing that so often tempts us toward greed and corruption: money. The core of Stoic wisdom is about mastering your desires, not being mastered by them. Hoarding money, especially when it's motivated by fear or selfishness, does not lead to a flourishing life. It leads to a soul that is detached from the world around it. The Stoics viewed wealth as an external good, something that is neither in your control nor necessary for true happiness. They understood that the desire to accumulate wealth for its own sake can corrupt your character, leading you to view yourself as superior to others, or to feel the need to protect your money at the expense of your peace. Instead of hoarding or obsessing over money, Stoicism calls us to circulate it, to use it as a means of fostering the greater good. Money, like energy, needs to move to create value. Just as energy flows in systems to keep them in balance, money needs to flow in society to contribute to a balanced and harmonious existence. One way of viewing this is through the Stoic concept of oikeiosis, which is the care and concern for others that arises naturally from our interconnectedness. Just as our bodies require all parts to function harmoniously, so too does society. When we hoard resources instead of sharing them, we disrupt that flow, contributing to imbalances and inequalities. When we choose to circulate money, whether it's through donations, supporting fair wages, or investing in businesses that promote ethical practices, we align with this Stoic principle. By doing so, we release the potential energy of money. The key is not to accumulate wealth for the sake of personal gain, but to use it as a tool to elevate the collective, to benefit the broader community. This can mean using money to educate, to invest in causes that align with our values, or to simply ensure that others have what they need to live with dignity. The Stoics didn't see poverty or wealth as ultimate measures of success, but as opportunities for growth. Poverty wasn't a curse to be avoided at all costs, nor was wealth a reward to be chased. In fact, Seneca, one of the wealthiest Stoics, warned against the illusion that more money would bring more happiness. Money has never yet made anyone rich. This insight reflects the Stoic understanding that happiness comes from virtue, not from external wealth or possession. Virtue, such as wisdom, justice, courage, and moderation, is the true wealth in a Stoic's life, and it's the only kind of wealth that truly sustains a person's well-being. Start by conducting a thorough audit of your spending habits. Examine your purchases and ask yourself, does this use of money reflect my values? Am I using this resource to align with my higher purpose, or am I seeking temporary satisfaction? In doing so, you may notice that much of what we spend money on doesn't contribute to our overall well-being or to the well-being of others. For example, mindless consumerism, which encourages us to buy things for status or short-lived pleasure, is often a sign that we've become disconnected from what truly matters. The Stoic practice calls for mindful spending, focusing on what you truly need, what enriches your life, and what can be shared with others to create positive outcomes. In addition to auditing your spending, consider where your money flows. Are you investing in businesses or causes that align with your values? Are you supporting ethical practices and people who are working toward the greater good? Do you use money as a tool for growth, not just for yourself, but for the betterment of society as a whole. Each dollar you spend or invest is an opportunity to reinforce your Stoic mindset, to contribute to something greater than yourself, and to remind yourself that wealth isn't measured by the numbers in your bank account, but by the impact you have on the world around you. The next time you make a purchase, donate to a cause, or even pay for a service, remember that money is not just an exchange of value, it's a circulation of energy. Just as you wouldn't hoard energy in your body or your home, let it flow through you, supporting what aligns with your values, nourishing the lives of others, and building a more virtuous world. This act of circulation isn't just about what you can do with your wealth, but how you can transform your relationship with it. You are not a slave to money, but a steward of it. When you use it for good, you tap into a deeper form of abundance that far exceeds what material wealth can offer. In essence, the Stoic approach to money teaches that true wealth is the freedom to live a life of virtue and purpose, free from the anxiety of having more. By using money consciously as a tool to foster relationships, to do good in the world, and to cultivate your inner tranquility, you begin to embody the Stoic principle that real wealth is internal. Truth 3. How frequency affects money. In Stoicism, success, whether it's in financial matters or personal development, isn't achieved through fleeting moments of luck or bursts of energy, but through consistent, deliberate action. Stoics believe that fortune favors the prepared, and this extends to how we manage our finances. The modern world often talks about frequency in terms of opportunities, markets, or frequency of wealth, which can create the illusion that financial prosperity is about timing and luck. However, Stoicism reframes this idea, suggesting that instead of focusing on frequency, we should focus on habit. Consistency and regular virtuous actions are what truly build the foundation for financial security and abundance. Seneca, one of the wealthiest and most influential Stoic philosophers, famously said, "Luck is what happens when preparation meets opportunity." This concept encapsulates the Stoic perspective that external factors like market conditions or sudden windfalls are secondary to how we prepare ourselves to act wisely when opportunities arise. Financial stability isn't built on the sheer luck of being in the right place at the right time. It's built on the habits we cultivate, the small, consistent actions that, over time, compound into wealth, security, and peace of mind. When we consider money from a Stoic perspective, we are reminded that our relationship with it is shaped by daily choices, not random occurrences. How we choose to manage our finances, how often we save, how we invest, and how we avoid unnecessary debt are all regular habits that determine our financial health in the long term. Each small decision, made repeatedly, compounds into something greater, just as the accumulation of virtuous acts strengthens our character over time. For example, the act of saving money regularly, even if the amounts are small, doesn't seem like a path to quick wealth, but it's precisely these small, disciplined choices that lay the groundwork for future stability. Stoicism teaches that we should not measure success by the size of our current wealth, but by the virtuous actions we take each day to align with our values. Ethical investing is another practice where frequency matters. It's not about chasing trends or reacting impulsively to market fluctuations, but about making sound, consistent decisions that reflect our values, whether that's investing in sustainable businesses, socially responsible ventures, or companies that promote equity and fairness. Avoiding debt is another essential aspect of Stoic financial wisdom. Debt, much like anger, creates a state of bondage, an inability to act freely because of external constraints. The Stoics would advise that we should avoid debt as a matter of principle, not only for the peace of mind it brings, but because it allows us to live in accordance with our virtues. Debt often results from impulsivity or disordered desires, things the Stoics warn against. The consistent practice of living within our means and avoiding excessive spending allows us to build wealth steadily, free from the chains of financial anxiety. To make this Stoic principle actionable in our lives, it's crucial to cultivate the habit of daily financial reflection. At the end of each day, take a few moments to review your financial decisions. Ask yourself, Did my financial choices today align with wisdom? Did I spend in a way that reflects my values? Did I save or invest in a way that moves me closer to stability? Did I avoid unnecessary debt or waste? This practice of self-reflection ensures that you are constantly reassessing your habits, checking that they align with your broader goals, and making course corrections when needed. The key here is consistency. Just as you would train your body through daily exercise or your mind through daily study, your financial habits must be cultivated through frequent, small actions. It's not about making one big decision to get rich or solve all your problems in one fell swoop. It's about the small, consistent steps that add up over time. Each day's choices accumulate, creating a future of financial freedom and security. Incorporating the Stoic mindset into financial matters requires the understanding that true wealth is a product of virtue and discipline, not luck. By focusing on habitual, deliberate actions aligned with wisdom and self-restraint, we build not only our bank accounts, but also our inner tranquility. The real power lies in the process of making thoughtful decisions over time, trusting that this cumulative effort will bring about greater stability and wealth than any sudden windfall could. The Stoic approach to money isn't about chasing external markers of success, but about cultivating the inner wealth of financial wisdom. Over time, the consistent practice of virtuous financial habits will lead you to a place of greater peace and security, no matter the external circumstances. Truth 4. Spiritual laws and money. Stoic philosophy teaches us that our true power lies in our ability to control how we respond to the events of our lives, including the financial ups and downs we inevitably encounter. One of the most profound Stoic concepts related to money and life in general is amor fati, or love of fate. This powerful principle encourages us to embrace everything that happens, including our financial challenges, as an opportunity for growth and resilience. It is not about hoping for only positive outcomes, but rather accepting that every event, whether good or bad, is an essential part of our journey and offers valuable lessons. Epictetus, one of the most influential Stoic philosophers, deeply embodied this concept. He famously wrote, "Don't seek for everything to happen as you wish, but wish for everything to happen as it does." The essence of this quote reflects the Stoic mindset that everything that occurs, whether it's a financial setback, an unexpected expense, or a lost investment, is a part of our broader life experience and has the potential to teach us something important. The Stoic does not see misfortune as a failure, but as a chance to practice virtues like patience, wisdom, and temperance. In our modern world, it is easy to become attached to specific outcomes, especially when it comes to money. We often measure our worth and success by the numbers in our bank accounts or the material possessions we accumulate. However, the Stoic approach asks us to release attachment to external results and instead focus on how we can respond virtuously to whatever happens. Money, from a Stoic perspective, is simply an external tool, neither inherently good nor bad, and its fluctuations should not disturb our inner peace. By adopting amor fati, we learn to accept financial losses with grace, seeing them as temporary and inevitable aspects of life, rather than as personal defeats. One of the most difficult but profound practices for a Stoic is to embrace financial losses as opportunities for self-improvement and emotional resilience. Rather than viewing a setback as a source of frustration or despair, we can practice the mindset of amor fati and see it as a necessary component of our life's journey. The Stoic believes that hardship is not something to be feared or resisted, but something that can strengthen our character. A financial loss, whether it's a poor investment, a business failure, or unexpected expenses, can teach us valuable lessons in humility, prudence, and detachment. To internalize this concept, you can start by reflecting on a past financial loss or setback. Instead of dwelling on the negative emotions or frustrations associated with it, write it down and analyze it through a Stoic lens. Ask yourself, how did this loss strengthen my character? This exercise forces you to shift your perspective from victimhood to empowerment, from seeing loss as a failure to recognizing it as an opportunity to grow. Perhaps that loss taught you to be more careful with your investments, or maybe it helped you develop a greater sense of gratitude for what you still have. It might have even inspired you to rethink your values and goals, helping you make more thoughtful decisions moving forward. In addition to financial setbacks, we must also accept the ebb and flow of money as a natural part of life. The Stoic doesn't resist change, nor do they become attached to any particular outcome. Instead, they focus on controlling what they can, namely, their response to external events. If wealth comes, it's treated with the same equanimity as poverty. Both are transient, and neither should disturb our inner peace. This is the true meaning of amor fati, loving fate as it unfolds, rather than wishing for a different path. To integrate amor fati into your financial life, take some time to reflect on any financial losses you've experienced. This could be anything from a poor investment to a missed opportunity or a significant monetary challenge. Write it down and, without judgment, explore the lessons you can extract from the experience. Ask yourself, what virtues did I practice during this loss? Patience, perseverance, wisdom. What did I learn about my relationship with money? How did I adapt and grow through this challenge? How did this experience prepare me for future financial decisions? By journaling through these questions, you can transform a negative experience into an empowering one. Rather than feeling defeated or anxious about financial uncertainties, you can adopt the Stoic approach of embracing each moment, trusting that every event serves to build your character. This not only allows you to face financial setbacks with strength and resilience, but also frees you from the constant worry and fear of losing money. By applying amor fati to your financial life, you stop fearing financial losses and instead view them as inevitable and necessary parts of your journey. You stop chasing wealth for the sake of wealth and start focusing on how each step, each decision, each loss can contribute to your inner peace and growth. As the Stoics teach us, the goal is not to accumulate external wealth, but to cultivate internal abundance, the wealth of wisdom, virtue, and peace. Truth 5. Neville Goddard's approach versus Stoicism. When exploring different philosophies and frameworks for achieving personal growth and financial success, it's insightful to compare the teachings of Neville Goddard and Stoicism. On the surface, these two approaches seem to present very different methods for achieving a fulfilling and prosperous life. However, by understanding the underlying principles of each, we can draw meaningful contrasts and harmonize aspects of both to enrich our understanding of wealth, success, and well-being. Neville Goddard, a 20th century mystic and spiritual teacher, is known for his teachings on the power of imagination and the law of attraction. Goddard's philosophy is rooted in the idea that thoughts create reality. According to Goddard, we are the creators of our own experiences, and the key to achieving desires, including financial success, lies in vividly imagining the life we want to manifest. By visualizing our goals and feeling the emotions of already having them, we can bring them into existence. He emphasized the role of the mind in shaping external circumstances, urging people to believe in their own imaginative power to manifest their desires into reality. In contrast, Stoicism, as taught by ancient philosophers like Marcus Aurelius and Epictetus, focuses on reason, virtue, and acceptance of external events. Stoics believe that while we cannot control the external world, we can control how we respond to it. Marcus Aurelius famously wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events," which embodies the Stoic understanding of personal agency. Stoics believe that wealth, like all externals, is indifferent. It is not inherently good or bad. What matters is how we use our resources and how we respond to their presence or absence. Stoics do not engage in manifestation in the same way Goddard suggests. Instead, they focus on cultivating detachment from external desires, understanding that true wealth comes from internal virtues like wisdom, courage, and self-control. The The key difference between Neville Goddard's approach and Stoicism is in their methods for achieving goals. Goddard encourages individuals to use the imagination to create their reality. This process involves a deep emotional and mental investment in the desired outcome. By vividly imagining oneself already having wealth or success and feeling the emotions associated with that success, Goddard believed that people could manifest their desires into physical form. His teachings align with the idea that thoughts become things and that imagination is a powerful tool for attracting desired experiences. Stoicism, on the other hand, relies on reason and ethical action. The Stoics do not believe that by simply imagining a desired outcome, it will manifest without effort. Instead, they teach that true happiness and wealth are cultivated through virtuous living, making rational, ethical decisions and embracing life's challenges with equanimity. In the Stoic worldview, external circumstances, such as wealth or fame, are not inherently good. What matters is how we approach those circumstances with virtue. Whether we maintain wisdom, self-control, and resilience, regardless of our external circumstances. Thus, while Goddard's approach emphasizes an inward focus on visualizing goals and manifesting them through imagination, Stoicism focuses on acting according to virtue, regardless of the outcome. The Stoic approach suggests that rather than relying on the power of imagination alone to bring about desired changes, we should engage with the world through rational and ethical action, while accepting that outcomes are not in our control. While Neville Goddard's teachings on manifestation emphasize the power of the mind to create external realities, Stoicism offers a more grounded, pragmatic approach to wealth and success. The Stoic does not reject the power of imagination or goal setting, but rather sees them as secondary to virtuous action. Instead of fixating on specific outcomes or trying to manifest wealth through imagination alone, the Stoic focuses on cultivating detachment from wealth, understanding that happiness and fulfillment come from living in alignment with virtue, not the accumulation of external goods. A practical takeaway from comparing these two philosophies is to visualize your goals, but to anchor your efforts in ethical action. Imagine your ideal life and career, but focus your daily efforts on making decisions that align with wisdom, fairness, and self-discipline. Trust that by doing so, you will naturally attract the opportunities that align with your values and goals. The Stoic does not rely solely on the law of attraction, but instead emphasizes that wealth, success, and peace come when we focus on rational, ethical actions and accept the outcomes as they come, without attachment. The integration of Goddard's focus on visualization and Stoicism's emphasis on virtuous action can be a powerful combination. Visualize your goals and dreams with clarity and passion, but remember that true fulfillment comes not from manifesting specific outcomes, but from acting with virtue along the way. By marrying imagination with reason, you can create a more balanced, empowered approach to achieving wealth and success. One that emphasizes internal growth over external achievement. While Neville Goddard's approach to manifestation encourages the use of imagination as a tool for creating external reality, Stoicism teaches us to detach from the outcome, focusing instead on the integrity of our actions. By practicing both visualization and virtuous living, we can cultivate a mindset that balances ambition with tranquility and external wealth with internal peace. Truth 6. Reprogramming your subconscious. One of the most powerful tools for reprogramming your subconscious mind is journaling. The Stoics recognize the importance of self-reflection and introspection as a means to refine their character and align their actions with virtue. In the modern context, journaling can serve as an essential tool for transforming negative beliefs about money and abundance into a mindset rooted in Stoic wisdom and rational thought. A common limiting belief many people hold is that money is evil or that they'll never have enough. These beliefs can shape our financial decisions, leaving us trapped in a cycle of dissatisfaction, scarcity, and unwise choices. Stoicism provides a powerful counter-narrative to these harmful beliefs. Seneca, one of the great Stoic philosophers, wrote, "It is not the man who has too little, but the man who craves more, that is poor. This insight challenges the modern obsession with wealth accumulation, reminding us that true richness is found not in the amount of money we possess, but in our ability to be content with what we have and to live in alignment with virtue. Journaling offers a practical way to reprogram our subconscious and shift our mindset toward the Stoic view of money. By regularly examining and challenging our assumptions about wealth and scarcity, we can transform our relationship with money and start seeing it as a tool for living a virtuous life, rather than as a source of stress or competition. To begin this process, set aside time each day to write down your thoughts and reflections on money. Start by identifying negative or limiting beliefs that may be holding you back. Do you view money as something inherently evil or corrupting? Do you fear that you'll never have enough? Write these beliefs down, acknowledge them, then challenge them with Stoic wisdom. For example, write affirmations such as, "I use money to serve, not to enslave. True wealth is measured by my virtue, not the amount of money I possess. I am content with enough, and I use what I have to improve my life and the lives of others. My financial situation does not define my worth, my character does." These affirmations are not just about thinking positively, but about actively reprogramming your subconscious to embrace a new, healthier relationship with money. The more you write and reflect on these Stoic principles, the more deeply they will be embedded in your mind. This process of repetition and introspection can gradually shift your perspective from one of scarcity and fear to one of abundance, gratitude, and purpose. The core idea behind Stoic journaling is that our thoughts shape our actions and ultimately our destiny. If you continuously tell yourself that money is evil, scarce, or unattainable, your subconscious will reinforce these beliefs, influencing your financial decisions and behavior. On the other hand, when you embrace Stoic principles and affirm that money is a tool to serve your goals, to help others, and to live virtuously, you begin to cultivate a mindset of abundance. This shift allows you to act with clarity, purpose, and wisdom in all financial matters. Stoic journaling also helps neutralize emotional reactions toward money, whether it's greed, envy, or fear of lack. By reflecting on the nature of money and its role in your life through the lens of Stoic teachings, you can free yourself from emotional attachment to wealth. This doesn't mean you reject money altogether, but rather you approach it with rational detachment and use it responsibly without becoming enslaved by the pursuit of more. Here's a simple ritual you can use to start your journaling practice. Begin each day by writing down a reflection on money. For example, how can I use money today to serve my greater good and the good of others? Or, what small, virtuous financial decision can I make today? At the end of the day, take a few minutes to reflect on your financial actions. Did you make choices in line with your values? Did you act from a place of wisdom or impulse? If you made decisions that were out of alignment with your values, write about how you can improve moving forward. Include affirmations related to your relationship with money in your journaling routine. These affirmations should reinforce financial wisdom, virtue, and detachment from materialism. Write them down daily to internalize the Stoic view of wealth and abundance. If you find yourself struggling with negative beliefs about money, take time to rewrite them. Challenge the narrative with Stoic reasoning. For example, if you have a belief that "I'll never be rich," you might reframe it as "Wealth comes from living virtuously and wisely, not from external conditions." Over time, this practice will help shift your subconscious programming and align your thoughts with a Stoic perspective on wealth. Incorporating Stoic journaling into your daily routine is a powerful way to reprogram your subconscious around money. By challenging limiting beliefs and reaffirming Stoic principles like detachment, virtue, and service, you transform your relationship with wealth. Money becomes a tool for greater purpose, not a source of fear, greed, or envy. You begin to see money not as the end goal, but as a means to live a life of virtue, fulfillment, and generosity. Through consistent reflection, affirmation, and intentional action, you create an environment where financial abundance is no longer a source of stress or distraction, but a tool to serve your highest aspirations. Remember, as Seneca reminds us, it is not the man who has too little, but the man who craves more that is poor. Reprogram your mind to focus on the things that truly matter: virtue, wisdom, and the pursuit of a good life, and you will find true wealth in the process. Truth 7. Energy circulation and wealth rituals. Stoic philosophy encourages us to approach wealth with a sense of detachment and rationality, recognizing that true well-being is not rooted in material accumulation, but in virtuous living. One of the Stoic rituals that helps foster this mindset is negative visualization, a practice in which we imagine losing the wealth we have, not as a source of fear or anxiety, but as a way to appreciate it more fully. Marcus Aurelius practiced this regularly, reminding himself that nothing is permanent and that everything in life, including wealth, is subject to change. By envisioning the potential loss of what we have, we cultivate gratitude for the present moment, while also acknowledging the fleeting nature of material possessions. This reflection keeps us grounded and reminds us that our happiness is not dependent on external circumstances, but on our internal capacity to appreciate and respond to those circumstances. Another important Stoic ritual is voluntary discomfort, which involves deliberately practicing frugality and intentionally reducing dependency on material luxuries. Seneca, in his writings, often extolled the virtues of living simply. He believed that by experiencing discomfort, we reduce our attachment to external comforts and learn to be content with less. This ritual can take many forms, perhaps by cutting down on unnecessary expenses, living below your means, or embracing a more minimalist lifestyle. The idea is not to suffer for the sake of suffering, but to build resilience and self-sufficiency. By deliberately practicing discomfort, we prepare ourselves for the inevitable ups and downs of life and free ourselves from the tyranny of desire. It is through this practice that we gain control over our impulses and create a more balanced and measured approach to wealth. In the modern context, we can adapt these Stoic rituals to align with contemporary values of generosity and social responsibility. One practical way to implement these Stoic principles is through regular energy circulation in the form of charitable giving. As Zeno, the founder of Stoicism, taught, well-being is attained by little and little, and nevertheless is no little thing itself. In other words, small, consistent actions of generosity and kindness have a profound cumulative effect on our lives. A modern adaptation of this Stoic teaching is committing to donate a portion of our income, say 1%, each month to a cause or charity that resonates with our values. This act of giving not only aligns with Stoic principles of service to others, but also helps to circulate energy in a way that promotes a healthy relationship with money. Giving away a portion of what we have reminds us that wealth is a tool, not a possession to cling to. It reduces the sense of ownership and attachment, helping us cultivate a mindset of abundance. This practice of energy circulation also provides the opportunity to reflect on the true purpose of wealth. When we donate, we are acknowledging that money is not merely for personal gain, but a resource that can contribute to the greater good. In this way, we break the cycle of accumulation and focus on how we can use our resources to improve the lives of others. Giving is a way to circulate wealth in a way that benefits both the giver and the receiver, fostering a sense of connection, generosity, and community. The act of giving, whether it is time, money, or resources, can reinforce the Stoic understanding that true wealth lies not in what we have, but in what we can offer to the world. By combining these ancient Stoic rituals, negative visualization, voluntary discomfort, and energy circulation, we can develop a modern Stoic approach to wealth that is rooted in gratitude, self-control, and generosity. These practices help us transcend the materialistic mindset that often dominates modern society and instead embrace a deeper, more meaningful relationship with wealth. Through these rituals, we are reminded that wealth, in its truest sense, is a tool for living virtuously and serving the common good. By practicing these Stoic teachings, we not only enrich our own lives, but contribute to a world that values wisdom, virtue, and the well-being of all. Truth 8. Aligned with abundance. Stoic philosophy teaches that true abundance is not found in the accumulation of material possessions, but in self-sufficiency and inner contentment. The famous figure Diogenes, often considered a precursor to Stoicism, embodied this radical idea. He lived with almost nothing, and yet he boldly declared, "I am richer than Alexander the Great, for he covets what I have." Diogenes recognized that true wealth is found in the ability to be content with what you have, rather than constantly chasing more. In this sense, abundance is not about having an overflowing bank account or a mansion full of things. It's about cultivating a mindset of sufficiency, knowing that we have everything we truly need in the present moment. This Stoic alignment with abundance is rooted in self-sufficiency, which means freeing oneself from the dependency on external sources of wealth or material goods for happiness and fulfillment. The more we learn to be content with less, the more we realize how much we already have. Abundance, in the Stoic sense, isn't about what we possess. It's about our relationship to what we possess and our ability to thrive without an endless need for more. By cultivating this attitude of contentment, we liberate ourselves from the anxiety and endless striving that so often accompany the pursuit of wealth in modern society. A practical way to align yourself with this Stoic view of abundance is to engage in an exercise of radical self-sufficiency. Spend a day without spending money. Choose a day or even a weekend to intentionally abstain from any financial expenditure. This could mean cooking meals at home, avoiding online shopping, or simply refraining from purchasing anything that isn't essential. By doing this, you will quickly notice how little you actually need to survive and thrive. The exercise may bring attention to the ways in which we are often driven by desires that don't serve our deeper well-being, and it will help you recognize the simple joys and freedoms that come from living with less. During this day, reflect on your feelings. How did you feel when you wanted something but couldn't buy it? Did you feel deprived, or did you find that you were actually more present and appreciative of what you already had? The goal of this exercise isn't to create hardship, but rather to help you see that our desires often grow larger than our needs, and that by recalibrating our mindset to one of sufficiency, we can experience true abundance. In a world that often encourages material accumulation and constant consumption, this Stoic practice of embracing sufficiency allows us to realign our priorities. It teaches us that the wealth we often seek externally can often be found within. By rethinking our relationship to money and possessions, we can create a deeper sense of fulfillment that isn't reliant on external validation or possessions. True abundance, as Stoicism teaches, is a mental and emotional state of being, one where we are content with what we have, grateful for the present moment, and free from the constant craving for more. Truth 9. Belief systems and financial struggles. Stoic philosophy teaches that our external circumstances, including our financial situation, are deeply influenced by our internal beliefs. The beliefs we hold about money often shape our relationship with it. For instance, many of us may carry the belief that I deserve luxury or debt is inevitable, which can lead to financial behaviors that reinforce these beliefs, such as overspending or accruing debt. However, Stoicism offers a radically different perspective. Epictetus, one of the most prominent Stoic philosophers, emphasized that true freedom isn't found in accumulating wealth, but in freeing ourselves from the desires that control us. He famously said, "Freedom isn't secured by filling your purse, but by emptying your soul of desire." This insight helps us understand that the key to financial well-being isn't necessarily in having more money, but in liberating ourselves from the relentless craving for material things. When we live in constant pursuit of luxury or the idea that debt is unavoidable, we are often driven by desires and beliefs that are ultimately unsustainable. These beliefs can cloud our judgment, leading us to make poor financial decisions or adopt a mindset of scarcity and lack. By recognizing these harmful beliefs, we can begin to challenge and reframe them. Instead of believing that we deserve luxury, we can ask ourselves, do I need this? Or is this a desire rooted in societal pressures or superficial wants? Instead of thinking that debt is inevitable, we can choose to believe, that living within our means and practicing discipline is not only possible, but empowering. A powerful Stoic practice to help us manage financial struggles is to conduct a belief audit. Start by identifying the beliefs you hold about money. These might include beliefs like, I deserve to live in luxury, debt is inevitable, I can't save money, or I'll never be able to build wealth. Once you have identified these beliefs, ask yourself if they serve you, or if they are limiting your ability to make wise financial decisions. To shift your mindset, replace those limiting beliefs with more empowering ones that align with Stoic principles of simplicity, moderation, and wisdom. For example, instead of debt is inevitable, replace it with, I can live a life of freedom by practicing financial discipline and living within my means. An effective exercise to solidify this new mindset is to take your financial fears and reframe them through the lens of Stoicism. Write down 3 financial fears you have, such as the fear of not having enough money, the fear of losing financial stability, or the fear of being stuck in debt. Once you've written each fear, add a Stoic affirmation next to it. This fear cannot control me unless I let it. This powerful reminder helps you realize that your fears are only as powerful as the amount of attention and energy you give them. In doing so, you begin to take control of your financial situation by focusing on what you can control: your thoughts, actions, and the wisdom you bring to managing your money. By adopting this Stoic approach to financial struggles, you shift from being reactive to your circumstances to being proactive in your responses. You begin to realize that financial success is less about the amount of money you have and more about how you manage your mindset, choices, and behavior. Through discipline and detachment, you can move toward a place of financial freedom that is rooted in wisdom, simplicity, and inner peace rather than the constant pursuit of external wealth. Truth 10. Money mirrors your emotional state. In Stoicism, the way we handle external events is a reflection of our internal state, and money is no exception. If you find yourself feeling constant anxiety about money, it may be a sign that you are allowing external circumstances to dictate your inner peace. Marcus Aurelius, the Stoic emperor, wisely stated, "The soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts." This quote underscores the idea that our emotional state is shaped by the thoughts we entertain. If your thoughts are consumed by worry about wealth, lack, or financial uncertainty, this will naturally color your perception of the world and, in turn, affect your emotional well-being. Stoicism teaches that true tranquility, ataraxia, comes from within. It is a state of mind that is independent of external conditions. Yet, when we tie our sense of self-worth and security to money, we set ourselves up for anxiety. The more we focus on accumulating wealth or fear losing what we have, the more we invite stress and emotional turmoil. The Stoic response to this is not to chase after money in hopes of finding peace, but to cultivate an inner sense of security and detachment, regardless of the financial circumstances around us. To combat the anxiety that often accompanies money, a Stoic approach encourages daily practices that reinforce your emotional resilience and sense of self-worth. One powerful practice is to meditate on the affirmation, "My worth is not tied to my net worth." This simple but profound reminder helps you separate your identity and self-esteem from your financial situation. Whether you're experiencing financial prosperity or challenges, this meditation reinforces the idea that your value as a person is not determined by the size of your bank account. Instead, it is rooted in your character, your ability to live virtuously, and your emotional peace. Another Stoic exercise to reduce anxiety around money is to adopt the practice of negative visualization, imagining worst-case scenarios, such as losing all your wealth, and mentally preparing yourself to respond with grace and resilience. While this may sound counterintuitive, it can be incredibly freeing. By confronting the possibility of financial loss in a controlled and reflective way, you reduce the fear and anxiety that arise from uncertainty. You begin to accept that just like any other external event, money is transient, and that true security comes from within. The more you practice detachment from external circumstances, the more resilient and calm you become in the face of financial fluctuations. By aligning yourself with these Stoic principles, you free yourself from the emotional roller coaster that financial concerns often create. You begin to see money not as a measure of success or failure, but as a tool to support your values and virtues. In doing so, you can cultivate a deep sense of inner peace and contentment, regardless of the financial ups and downs you encounter. This is the Stoic approach to money, not to seek it for the sake of status or security, but to use it wisely and live virtuously, maintaining ataraxia. Truth 11. The power of belief and money. In Stoicism, the core belief is that virtue, living in harmony with reason and nature, leads to true happiness, or eudaimonia. Seneca, one of the most prominent Stoic philosophers, reminds us that a happy life is one which is in accordance with its own nature. This highlights a fundamental Stoic truth. Material wealth, while useful, is not the ultimate measure of success or happiness. Rather, it is the cultivation of wisdom, courage, justice, and self-control that truly leads to flourishing. Money, in the Stoic view, is a mere external, a tool that can aid us in living virtuously, but not something we should seek as the ultimate source of our happiness or self-worth. Many people today equate financial success with personal fulfillment, often prioritizing monetary gain over personal growth, wisdom, or inner peace. This belief can lead to stress, anxiety, and a never-ending cycle of striving for more, always feeling like there's something missing. Stoicism, on the other hand, invites us to shift our focus. The Stoic belief is that true wealth is not found in the accumulation of material possessions, but in the cultivation of wisdom and virtue. As Seneca points out, a life in accordance with nature, one grounded in wisdom, virtue, and self-mastery, brings peace and joy, regardless of financial status. Instead of chasing after money, Stoics invest in what truly enriches the soul: knowledge, personal development, and virtuous living. A wise Stoic would argue that skills, the ability to think clearly, make good decisions, and respond to life's challenges with grace, are far more valuable than any financial investment. Investing in wisdom, rather than stocks or real estate, offers something money can't buy: lasting happiness and fulfillment. The most valuable asset you can cultivate is your character, and your ability to navigate life's challenges with wisdom and integrity. To put this Stoic principle into action, consider rethinking where you allocate your time and energy. Instead of obsessing over the stock market or financial trends, focus on investing in your skills, knowledge, and personal growth. For example, rather than spending hours on financial speculation, devote that time to learning something new, improving your work habits, or practicing mindfulness. These investments pay dividends that are far more valuable in the long run than any fleeting material gain. In doing so, you are choosing to align your life with your true nature, one that is focused on inner growth and virtuous living. When you prioritize wisdom and virtue, money becomes just another tool in your toolbox rather than the central focus of your life. This shift in belief and focus allows you to embrace the Stoic truth that true wealth lies in your ability to live according to your nature, with wisdom, courage, and tranquility. Truth 12. Overcoming self-sabotage. Self-sabotage is a common yet destructive pattern that many people struggle with, and it often arises from deep-rooted fears: fear of failure, fear of loss, fear of making the wrong decisions. All of these fears create internal barriers that prevent us from making progress in our lives, particularly when it comes to finances, career, and personal growth. These fears may manifest as hesitation to take financial risks, avoidance of investment opportunities, or indecision about career moves or business ventures. The fear of not being able to handle the consequences, whether real or imagined, often results in paralysis, preventing us from moving forward. This is where Stoic philosophy provides us with powerful tools to overcome self-sabotage. One of the most effective Stoic techniques is premeditatio malorum, which means the premeditation of evils, or the practice of premeditating misfortune. Premeditatio malorum is the Stoic practice of actively visualizing and contemplating the worst-case scenarios in our lives. While this may seem counterintuitive, it's a profoundly powerful exercise that allows us to mentally prepare for challenges and setbacks. By acknowledging that hardship, loss, and failure are natural parts of life, we remove the fear of the unknown and gain greater control over how we respond when things go wrong. As the Stoic philosopher Epictetus said, "What's the worst that could happen? Can I endure it?" This simple but profound question shifts our perspective from one of fear to one of resilience. By confronting the worst-case scenario in advance, we rob it of its power to paralyze us when it inevitably arises. The truth is, most of the time, the worst-case scenario is not nearly as catastrophic as our minds often make it out to be. When we allow ourselves to sit with the fear and imagine the worst, we quickly realize that while setbacks may be painful or uncomfortable, they are rarely life-ending. This practice prepares us to endure the challenges that come our way and, more importantly, teaches us that we have the internal strength to weather the storm. By taking the time to premeditate misfortune, we mentally fortify ourselves, reducing the emotional charge that fear often brings. Once we can accept that we can handle adversity, the grip that fear has over us loosens, and we find ourselves able to take action with more confidence. For example, let's say you fear investing because of the potential for financial loss. In the context of premeditating misfortune, you would actively think about what might happen if you lose the money you invest. Ask yourself, what is the worst thing that could happen if I lose this investment? How would I handle that loss? The answer is often a lot less dramatic than we initially imagine. Perhaps you would feel disappointment or frustration. But loss is a temporary setback. In the grand scheme of things, it may be inconvenient, but it's something that you can recover from. Once you've confronted this reality, the fear of loss becomes less paralyzing, and you are more able to make decisions without being overwhelmed by anxiety. Epictetus provides additional wisdom on this by saying, "First, say to yourself what you would be, then do what you have to do." This piece of advice highlights the importance of alignment between our actions and our character. Before taking any major action, whether it's an investment, starting a new project, or making a big decision, Epictetus encourages us to reflect on who we are and who we aspire to be. This self-reflection grounds us in our sense of purpose and helps us take action from a place of confidence, not fear. If we've already mentally prepared ourselves for the worst, and if we have anchored our decisions in our personal values, we are far more likely to proceed with clarity and resolve. In other words, by understanding who we are and what we stand for, we are better able to take bold steps without hesitation. In practice, premeditatio malorum doesn't just apply to the fear of investing. It can be applied to any decision in life where fear of failure holds us back. If you are hesitant to invest in a business or start a new venture, you can start small. Begin by taking low-risk steps and allow yourself the grace to experience small setbacks along the way. These small experiences can build your confidence and help you acclimate to the process of taking risks. Just like any form of self-discipline, overcoming self-sabotage is a practice. The more you practice confronting your fears, the less power they will hold over you, and the more capable you will become at taking action, even when things are uncertain. The core of Stoic practice is that challenges are not to be feared but embraced as opportunities for growth. By facing the worst-case scenario with calm and rational resolve, we free ourselves from the paralyzing grip of fear. When we embrace the inevitable difficulties that life will present, we open ourselves up to learning, growth, and the eventual success that comes from taking decisive, thoughtful action. We come to realize that every setback or failure is an opportunity to build resilience, learn new lessons, and grow stronger in the pursuit of our goals. In practical terms, let's say you've always wanted to make an investment, but fear of losing money has held you back. By applying premeditatio malorum, you could start by imagining the worst-case scenario. What would happen if you lost your initial investment? Would you go bankrupt? Likely not. While it might cause stress and disappointment, you would still be able to recover. Once you come to terms with the idea that loss is not the end of the world, you will feel empowered to take the next step. You'll recognize that the small risks you take today will compound into greater success tomorrow. This process of confronting and accepting fear helps you build the mental fortitude necessary to face life's challenges with courage and confidence. Ultimately, overcoming self-sabotage is a process of conditioning your mind to see fear and uncertainty not as insurmountable obstacles, but as opportunities for growth and learning. By practicing primitatio malorum, we take control of our reactions to fear, reducing its power and allowing us to act with clarity and purpose. Challenges become stepping stones to success, and self-sabotage transforms from a destructive habit to a thing of the past. Fear no longer has the ability to hold us back. Instead, we embrace it, learn from it, and move forward with resolve. Truth 13. Real-life stories. Seneca, one of the most prominent Stoic philosophers, lived a life that embodied both the paradoxes and lessons of wealth. As a wealthy advisor to the infamous Emperor Nero, Seneca had access to immense wealth and power. Yet, he famously wrote, "Money is the wise man's servant, the fool's master." This profound statement reflects the Stoic belief that wealth, while not inherently bad, can easily become a trap for those who fail to use it wisely. For Seneca, money was a tool to serve a higher purpose, virtue and wisdom, not an end in itself. He understood that wealth could either empower you to live a virtuous life or lead you to fall prey to the dangers of excess and indulgence. Despite his wealth and influence, Seneca's life ended in a tragic yet telling manner. He was ordered by Nero to commit suicide, and despite his position, there was no wealth or power that could shield him from this grim fate. This illustrates a critical Stoic lesson. Wealth cannot protect you from life's inevitable challenges, nor can it secure inner peace. No matter how much wealth or status one amasses, life's circumstances are ultimately beyond our control. The only true form of security is found in the cultivation of virtue and wisdom. Seneca's final moments, spent reflecting on life and death, embodied the Stoic philosophy that detachment from material possessions and the pursuit of wisdom leads to a life well lived, even in the face of hardship and suffering. His calmness in the face of death is a testament to the Stoic ideal of maintaining tranquility regardless of external circumstances. In the modern world, we see similar examples of individuals who, despite having access to wealth, choose to live according to Stoic principles. Take, for example, a CEO who practices Stoic frugality. Despite leading a successful company and earning a substantial income, he chooses to live well below his means. His philosophy is simple. Money, while necessary for life, is not an end goal. He views wealth as a resource to be used wisely and generously, donating half of his income to charitable causes. For him, the true value of wealth lies not in accumulation, but in using it to create positive change in the world and to live in alignment with his personal values. This CEO embodies the Stoic idea that virtue and integrity should guide how one uses wealth, not the pursuit of wealth for its own sake. This CEO's commitment to frugality and generosity reflects a key Stoic principle, that inner peace is the most valuable asset one can possess. By choosing to live with less, he removes the distractions and temptations that often come with excessive wealth, allowing him to focus on what truly matters: relationships, purpose, and personal growth. His peace of mind, free from the anxiety of consumerism and financial excess, is priceless. Just as Seneca believed that wealth should serve virtue, this CEO has made a conscious decision to use his wealth to contribute to the greater good, finding fulfillment in his actions, not in the accumulation of possessions. His life illustrates that true wealth comes not from how much you have, but from how you use what you have to live a life of meaning. Both Seneca and the modern Stoic CEO exemplify the timeless lesson that wealth, while useful, is ultimately secondary to the pursuit of virtue, wisdom, and inner peace. Whether in the ancient world or today, the Stoic approach to money is one of mindful use, not blind accumulation, and one that prioritizes character over material success. These real-life stories remind us that true wealth is found not in the amount of money we possess, but in the way we choose to live and use our resources. Through their examples, we learn that the richest lives are those that are rich in virtue, in relationships, and in the peace that comes from living a life aligned with one's values. Though Stoicism doesn't promise riches, it promises freedom from the constant chase for more. Wealth, in the Stoic sense, is not measured by the size of one's bank account, but by the peace of mind that comes from using money wisely and in alignment with virtue. As Marcus Aurelius wisely wrote, "Very little is needed to make a happy life." This simple yet profound truth reveals the Stoic approach to money. It is not the accumulation of wealth that leads to fulfillment, but the cultivation of inner peace, self-discipline, and moral character. By focusing on virtue, wisdom, courage, justice, and self-mastery, the Stoic ensures that money, when it comes, is used as a tool for good, not as a master. In the modern world, the obsession with attracting wealth often leads to endless striving, anxiety, and dissatisfaction. Stoicism encourages us to shift our focus. Instead of chasing after external rewards, we should turn inward, refining our character and making deliberate, thoughtful choices with our resources. As we attract virtue into our lives, wealth, both material and emotional, naturally follows. True wealth for the Stoic isn't found in possessions or financial gain, it is found in freedom. The freedom to live with integrity without the weight of excessive desires and attachments. By prioritizing virtue over riches, we reclaim our peace and our power to live a fulfilled, purposeful life. So, stop trying to manifest wealth and start manifesting virtue. The rest will follow. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more Stoic wisdom and practical advice.